And he takes his mic off and does a full walkout. First interview, first question. I was like, this is an absolute disaster.
Why do Jews love sushi so much?
It's a good question.
Welcome to Dan Loves to Chat. That's me. I'm Dan. On today's episode, we have two of my favorite people. We have David Gelb, who is the creator of Mother Friggin' Chef's Table, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, and the whole Chef's Table franchise, and a lot of other things. He's one of the most important, influential people in like food media, food movie world. And for those who don't know, I made a lot of food videos for eater.com for a long time. So I've done like kind of a mini version of what he did. I mean, not on the same scale, not with the same viewership, not with the same money, but so I kind of understand that world. And then on the way over to interview David, I ran into a very dear family friend of mine, Brian Koppelman, who is an incredibly brilliant, legend, accomplished TV creator, movie creator, writer, director. He's actually in The Bear, the massive food show. And I told him that I was on my way to interview Gelb on this podcast, and I asked him if he wanted to come, and he said yes, and he would join us for some of it. So he comes in. The three of us all talk. When Brian's there, we're talking a lot about like what it means to make a film. And then when Brian leaves, it turns out David Gelb is, incredibly brilliant and also has a lot of the same sort of insecurities as I do. So we talk about like neuroses and what it, why accomplishment is important, and if it is important, and what failure is like, how to maintain relationships and love. And there's so much Jewish neuroses going on. If you don't like that stuff, this might not be the one for you, but if you do, oh buddy, are you in luck? So enjoy this episode with the three of us and then the two of us. Also, we recorded for way too long, so the cameras and stuff kept dying. So if you notice any of that stuff, it's entirely my fault. Do not blame anyone else besides me, but it was my sloppiness. And if it really bothers you, then fucking, blow me. I don't know. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like this episode, please review, rate, send it to a friend, and leave a comment or something. Ideally, something that tells me that I'm not doing it well, so that I'm inspired to keep going. Anyway, enjoy this episode. Thank you. So on today's episode, I have the legend David Gelb, creator of Jiro Dreams of Sushi, Chef's Table. And on my way over for this amazing interview, I ran into another legend, my dear friend Brian Koppelman, creator of many things, and also kind of one of my sources of, I would say, I do have a bit of, you are one of the what would Jesus do in my head.
What would Kopp do?
What would Kopp do? Because he's just a guy that makes the right decisions, and he's good at saying no to things and yes to things, and that's, I think, a great feature in people.
I'm happy I said yes to being here with you, Dan, because you are family, and because Gelb and I have almost met like 15 times.
Or orbiting. There have been comments exchanged on socials. There have been, I was saying in the waiting room, maybe 50 to 100 times the sushi scene from Billions has been sent to me as just, have you seen this? Have you seen this?
I admire your work so much, dude. You're really, meeting you is kind of meh, but the truth is the work is extraordinary. It's a little Mozart-y, if you know what I'm saying. The sort of
too many notes.
The dichotomy, really.
Oh, sorry, that was a
dichotomy. I know the reference.
That was an Amadeus reference. But thank you so much.
And Dan, it is true. You are family, and you're one of those people. Your friends, your gift of. I'm so excited to hear you talk to Gelb because you're so great getting the best out of people. You're friends with every member of my family.
I think like the thing that I hadn't realized about your career, I didn't realize how young you were when you made Jiro, and I think there's an amazing story. I think, could we start with the story of you just going over there, and how you were able to build the connection with Jiro to even be able to get in to see this man who was impossible to talk to. I mean, even in the documentary, you can't really talk to him. So like, how old were you, and like, was it scary for you to go to Japan on your own? And was this a huge risk? Like, if you fucked it up, would it have been sad and bad?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's actually an interesting moment to talk about it because we're 15 years anniversary of it. of it coming out. I think it came out in 2012. You know, I originally had a bigger idea to do, because I love the show Planet Earth. Like, I was just like loving Planet Earth, and I wanted to do like a food thing that was like shot all beautiful, but was like all over the world, like kind of like a Planet Earth of food of some kind. But I narrowed it down to sushi because it's my favorite food. I love going to Japan. So going to Japan by myself was like part of the point a little bit. The money to do it came from my dad and my grandparents. And so they were not expecting anything out of it, but they were like, well, just like let's go take a shot at this. And I got in with Jiro because of the food writer, Yamamoto. So he's sort of like the narrator in the in the movie. And he convinced Jiro to do it, and I just kind of just fumbled my way through it. And like maybe it's part of it just being literally by myself and just me and a translator. He kind of like felt like bad for me, like oh boy, like he's in way over his head. Yeah, I mean one of my favorite moments was when we were shooting the octopus. You know, there's a scene where he massages the octopus, and it's like, got to massage the octopus for an hour. And as I was filming it, you know, and literally filming, like rolling like hard drives worth of material in slow motion of them like doing this octopus. And Jiro leans into the translator and she's like, Jiro-san says he is worried you are making the most boring movie ever made. I was like, no, this is priceless. And then as I was like offloading all this footage, I was like, I'm in a lot of trouble. Yeah. But the consequence of failing on that, I don't know. I probably would have just tried to make something else. I don't know. I'm lucky because I can't control how people react to it. All that I can do is the best.
When you say that though, about, hey, if I failed, I was hearing the story and I was thinking just the opposite. And it's interesting because what you've accomplished is remarkable. The work is really, it is extraordinary. And I think it changed the way people talk about food and understand it and understand chefs' missions. But I bet actually you felt a huge responsibility to Jiro and to your dad. Like, because when you're working with somebody who's the real thing and you realize, oh, wait, this place is regarded like this because this guy is a monk. Yes. And he's devoted every second of his life to the fact that he would choose the fish over his own son, the egg over his own son. Did you feel this tremendous duty and honor him?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I didn't want to just be a disappointment to him. And then also, you know, there's this whole storyline about his son, like having to live in his father's shadow and trying to, you know, he'd have to be 10 times as good as his dad just to be considered an equal, et cetera, et cetera. And meanwhile, my dad is the head of the Metropolitan Opera. My grandfather was the managing editor of the New York Times. And so I felt like a lot of pressure to show that I am worth something, you know, or that I can do something. Plus, I borrowed a lot of money from them. And I was like, well, this way I won't have to go to grad school. I'll just do this. And they were like, we're never going to pay for your grad. Like, what are you talking about? But I felt that's where the story kind of broke, was then I realized, like, oh, it's actually the son. It's kind of a two-hander. And then I was able to kind of find that in the edit. So we shot for a month. I came back in a state of total despair. There's no way I can make this into a feature. Did a lot of editing.
Wait, did you? I've heard you say that a lot, but did you really? Like when you got back,
I felt like really. Well, what happens is, and this is part of the filmmaking process. When you're shooting it, you look at the footage, you're like, this is the fucking best shit ever. Yeah. Then you get your first assembly, and you're like, I am a miserable failure. Like, I am the worst person ever. And then you just hack at it and mold it and build on it and stuff, and just have to just
David,
force
say more about
to reach your taste.
Say more about this to Dan, because even though you've edited a lot of stuff, it's short form, man. Even in narrative stuff, right? The first assembly, you have to train yourself not to want to like leap from a building.
I was gonna say, you look for the nearest window.
Talk about why, because I think people hear it and they're like, well, how could that be? We saw the final thing. Like,
it's the taste.
Talk more about
the taste gap. I mean, it's the taste gap, and Ira Glass says this really brilliantly. But it's the, you know, you go in. And even if you have actually done all the work to be able to get the skill to reach your taste, but even if you are good, and in this case, you know, I'd done a lot of little shorter docs and things like, you know, I did the thing for the Hold Steady, for example. It was the first long form thing that anybody had ever seen of mine, but it wasn't my first thing. But even
it was
then,
considered good.
Even then, and even today, your taste is here. The thing you're making, when you're shooting it, you're like, oh, this is going to be so good. Then when you're editing it and you assemble it and it has no sound, the scenes are a little rocky, not everything is playing the way that you thought it would, the despair of the gulf between where you're at and where your taste is just absolutely crushing.
It all feels like an indictment of you, an indictment of your bad taste, an indictment of your indulging your
Yeah.
appetites,
Your failure, the time and money you've lost, how people
Right.
are going to think you suck. None of the jokes are landing.
because it sucks, and it's not you're not making it up either. It sucks because it's baggy, right? It's
Yeah. But you know what's reassuring, though? If you can have that awareness,
now.
then you're going to be okay. If people are looking at their first assembly and they think it's the best thing ever, they are actually not doing a great job,
Yeah, yeah.
potentially. So that's just part of the creative process, and you just have to fight through it
'Cause you're
and keep working
ruthless.
on it.
When you went back for the second round of Giro, what did you think you needed to get?
Well, I knew. Well, one, I had a new camera had come out at that point, and so I was able to reshoot some of the sushi pieces. So I didn't have any lighting, so I was
Right.
like, how can I get more out of what's there? So then I reshot a bunch of the sushi close-ups. I knew what story elements I needed to pick up. I needed to get more about the son, Yoshikazu-san, the elder son who works in the restaurant with him. And then I wanted to take him on a trip. Like we went to Hamamatsu, where just to give it some kind of get out of the restaurant, get a little perspective. And we went in and we shot that. I remember sprinting with the camera and the backpack to make this bullet train, literally probably the hardest, the most fit, the hardest I've ever worked out was running through the train station trying to make this, because I was offloading. I had one drive on the camera. It hadn't an error, so I was offloading within a margin of seconds to get there with the gear. And I think that they saw me whenever they would see me struggling, they would really turn it on, and they gave me some really good stuff on that train ride. And that's the scene where he talks about his dad, and these beautiful moments.
Real quick, so I think one of the themes of it, and I think you mentioned, was that the dad's insane hard ass never gives the kids any real love, time, or attention, affection. I mean, to put it lightly. And then the kids, of course, both follow and make sushi, and they really want his favor. And it's, I think, one of the lovely parts of the movie is that they're more sort of charming than he is. They have a sort of more loving smile than he does. Mm-hmm. And what's so fucked about the movie is as a viewer, you watch that and you think, oh, they're not going to be as good at sushi.
Well, I thought I put that thing at the end. We found this bit where
he's
the one who served the Michelin inspectors.
Right, of course.
And that was a throwaway line that we found, and was oh, we can use this as the big thing. But it's you go into the exact same thing as your dad, who's the greatest legend, and it's you have to just kind of surrender to the fact that you're carrying the baton is being passed, but you'll never be the star.
Did your father understand that you were also making a movie sort of about your own life on some
Yeah,
level?
no, I think he did. He had a lot of notes.
Perfect.
The movie is a good try. I did the best I could. No, he's
That's
very
funny.
kind. He's
That's
very
yeah.
very kind about it. But he's a very tough critic on himself, and it goes back to my grandpa.
Yeah.
Okay, so my grandpa is very gregarious guy. Loves giving advice to young people. He actually, the curse of my family goes back even further. My great uncle is Jascha Heifetz, the best violinist ever. He would he would play Carnegie Hall all the time. He was a big deal. Whenever there was a new baby born in the family, he would show up with his tuning fork, okay, to see if the Heifetz gene is in the baby.
If the baby could recognize the note.
Hit the note.
Has perfect
There's
pitch.
There's actually no criteria
Right.
that would
He would
make
just
any
know.
sense at all. He would just
Yeah.
know. And nobody had the Heifetz gene was dead, it turned out. He hit the bell over the tuning fork over my dad's crib and waved it around, and then declared my dad not a genius and ignored him until he died. And that became and I love my grandparents, and they rest in peace. They were lovely. They were very hard on my dad, and they would it was a funny party joke that Peter's not a genius, and that became part of his narrative, and that's why my dad became a producer and supporter of artists, but not one himself. Okay, then my grandfather would say,
This is the line.
This is the line. You can do anything you want in the world, anything you want. Just be the best at it. That's a tough thing, and he thinks he was being very progressive and like this is like great. You can be anything. You don't need to be a newspaper
Be
man.
the best ballet dancer.
Just be the best.
Yeah.
And that's like absolutely brutal. And you know, I have two young kids, and I'm avoiding. And I don't love it when people are like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Because what kids will do is they'll come up with this. They'll say, "I want to be a fireman," and the parents will be like, "Oh no!" And then eventually they'll say, "I want to be a lawyer or a doctor or engineer or whatever," and the parents will be like, "Oh, okay, great." And then the kid goes through their life thinking that that's their story. And you know, my story was like I wanted to be more than, and this is I thought that documentaries. My dad was always like, "When are you going to make a real movie?" In fact, he said that to me.
How seriously
6
is he
months
saying
ago.
that?
And
Was he fucking around?
No, but I was like, "Dad, who
Yeah.
hurt you?" And then he was like, "Who hurt you, Dad?" I was
Yeah.
like, "It's that thing." Because I was like, you know, I like doing documentaries, and I don't need to like escape from doing it. And in fact, for the new seasons of Chef's Table, I'm directing all of them because I like love doing it. I just did a big documentary series about that has not been announced or is not out, but I
Cool.
realized
I
I
can't
like
wait
doing
to
it. So,
see
so I'm,
that.
I'm accepting of the fact that like yes, I do documentaries.
A series? You
and
did
it's
a
fine.
series on?
Yeah. So documentaries.
I can't wait to see
Yeah,
it.
you'll like it. We just recorded a very cool actor to do the voiceover for it.
That's
and,
so badass. Good,
Just
man.
earlier today. And
So wait, what
I
do you
love it.
tell? So are you trying to break the Gelb curse? Like, what do you tell
The
your
Gelb curse?
kids?
It's all in our head.
Okay.
I just say, yeah, I don't ask them about what they wanted. I just say, what do you want to like?
But how
what
much
are we
do you
doing today?
Want, how
you
much
know?
will you encourage them to be great?
Not at all.
Not at all.
They should just do whatever they do. They should just try to do whatever they like doing. You know, I don't.
I had an uncle. I had the
I'll
same.
encourage them to finish a task. Like if we start a Lego set, like let's finish it. You know?
Yeah.
I had an uncle who wasn't a genius, like your, great uncle was, but that didn't stop him from having opinions. And when my best friend and I went in a basement and wrote rounders, you know, every day, 2 hours a day, just, you know, 4 hours, like just no sleep, right? Because we both had jobs, and we were. I remember when we sold it, and this guy was like, "I'm so happy that you sold your script to Hollywood." And I said, "Thanks." And he said, "When do they bring in the writers?" Which
Yeah.
is, when are you going to make a real movie? When do they bring in the writers?
Yeah.
I still turn to my part. I still turn to Dave sometimes,
yeah.
and I say,
When are they? So
when are they going to bring in the writers?
on this? Yeah, no, that's great. And
Incredible.
you know, it kind of slipped out of my dad's because it's like, you know, I've declared, you know, I want to make like scripted movies too. You know, I have aspirations to that, and it's. I just thought it was funny when he said that because I showed him like a scene from the new thing that was like, this is like, I know he's gonna like this. He's like, oh yeah, cool. My dad has won 6 Emmy Awards. I've been nominated for 6.
Oh,
You know, so I'm like,
I got 4, and
I got
3
it.
of them are New York.
You have 4 Emmys?
4 nominations, 3 of them are New York.
It's dope.
No, never won.
Congratulations. Yeah. But
And
you
I have
you
that
got a
on my
plaque. How many
comedy-
Emmys do you have?
I have that
probably?
on my Comedy Cellar bio.
I do. I mean, I do.
How many do you
I have
have?
one.
Yeah.
No, I
Answer
have
the
one
question.
sport. It was for 30 for 30 that Dave and
You
I
don't have a. You don't have.
one for 30 for 30 that David and I directed.
No,
I
there
do
are no-
have,
there are
I
no
have one for
Billions
this
Emmys?
directing. No, Billions was never nominated.
That's good.
Man.
Okay, that makes me feel better, guys.
Never
Thank you.
nominated.
All right.
Though we
Great
did
show.
we did celebrate your movie in the show, as you
Yeah,
said.
thank you. Yeah. Although people think that Jiro has won an Oscar, which it is not, which is a nice compliment. But we were the photo in that year's New York Times snubbed article.
That's
I
the
was
best,
angry
that's the
about
best
it.
place to be.
You know, it's amazing that time the zeitgeist. It wasn't. I mean, I really. Obviously, you have so
Let's
much
cut
to talk
that so
about.
that people think that we did win the
Sure.
What you
Oscar.
accomplished,
I'm
I'll
just
say,
kidding.
I was,
Don't
I
cut
was,
that.
I'm very sanguine about that whole thing. The awards, I never cared about it, except I get indignant for other people about it. Like truly, on our show, I was indignant about like certain actors. I wanted
Yeah,
them
yeah.
to get it.
Yeah.
Like I felt like we all get so rewarded for doing what we do that it's hard to get up in arms about that for real. And you could know me in the latest hour, earliest time in the morning, and it's the God's truth. There are things I can get indignant about, but not
Yeah.
that.
I wanted
But-
to win one because he has 6 Emmys. It's like the whole thing.
Sure.
And it was like, my dad has 6 Emmys. Like, how cool is that?
And they're for the live broadcasting.
They're for the live broadcasting.
This is for the Met.
Not of the
I don't know
Met.
if we
No,
mentioned
these
this,
are
but these
actually from before that. He had done. He would manage musicians. So
Okay.
like Vladimir Horowitz, the pianist, or Herbert von Karajan, the conductor of various. He would make, while he was managing their careers, he would make documentaries about them, and also do these like big concert films that would be broadcast on PBS, and he won Emmys for those things.
No, did you know, David? Did you have any idea to be earnest for a second, like,
Yeah.
because I do think, obviously we all know chefs and food people, and have watched, and I love. I've many friends who've, set out to do this to become chefs, cooks, right? And a few things happened. I think Momofuku had a huge impact and changed the way people in New York thought about what was possible in fine dining. But I think that you gave a language to the feelings people had, and your movie shows why certain chefs are willing to sacrifice almost everything for an ineffable thing, right? You talk about how fast the meals are at Jiro. And look, I didn't know I was going to be here, right? Dan and I ran into each other on the subway, but the movie's so strong, so I didn't go rewatch the film. It's in my head from all those years ago, dude. And
It's actually true. I hadn't thought about that. It sticks
powerful
in. Yeah.
it is. The things that you showed about how ineffable it is, about the dedication, the monk-like pursuit, not just in the rigor, but in the spirit. Like, did you have a sense that you were going to change the whole conversation about, before Chef's Table even, that you were going to change the way people conceived of chefs?
I want to say yes and no.
Talk about it.
It's there. I live in a state of grandiosity and true despair, and
me
it
too.
it alternates.
Yeah.
Where there are moments when I was shooting it, when I cut my first 1 minute trailer after the first thing, and I'm like, this is going to change the world. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. But then when I hit the assembly thing, and I have to sustain for it's supposed to be a feature film, then I'm like, I am in serious trouble here, and I am full of shit. And so, but it's necessary. I think that it's worked for me because you need, there's just the right amount of narcissism and grandiosity to be able to take the journey. I'm not making a thing because I don't think people are going to like it, or that I believe that if I like it, then everybody's going to like it. But I do have enough introspection and self-awareness to check myself, but I can go down I can go down hard.
Did you screen it when you had a
Oh my
cut
God,
that you
yeah,
liked?
yeah.
But when you had a cut that you liked,
Yeah.
did you have that moment where you were sitting in the room before their comments, because the comments don't really matter, but where you realized, oh, it's getting them?
Yes and no.
What's the no?
The no is when I can feel it's long, and I can feel the energy in a room waning. I can hear,
Yeah.
but I know that I had a good laugh. So there's a good laugh towards the beginning of Jiro Dreams of Sushi that has usually worked, and it's a little bit of an editing trick. But, Yamamoto, the food critic, he goes down. It's right after the opening credits. He goes down. And he's like, I was nervous the first time I went to Jiro, and I'm still nervous even when I go now. And he sits down. Jiro's just standing there, staring at him blankly, and starts making the sushi. And Yamamoto takes a bite. He's like, it's so good. And Jiro just looks at him like this, like nothing. And
Yeah.
the audience, as soon as the audience laughed at that moment, then I know that
But you knew they
that I
got what
have
was
them.
going on.
Yeah, then I know that I have them. And then in the process of the test screenings, it was too long, and then I overcorrected and I stripped too much of it out, and then I found the right balance.
Let me ask you guys something. Why is it that this is something that I experience in stand-up, with making little clips that never work, and in all kinds of video. Why do you think you can tell when something is too long, even without people saying it, when you show it to someone else?
Why does it feel different in the room with someone else? It's because
Even if I show someone on my phone, me watching it with someone next to me, I can tell what needs to be cut.
It changes
even
everything.
without even seeing their face.
It absolutely changes everything. And I think that the reason is it's one, because you must be an empathetic person, and they're using their time and attention to watch a thing, and so time moves in a different state for you watching them watch it. And it's both that, and then a little bit of the self-loathing-ish, a little bit where you're kind of like, they're not smiling. Can't really read what's happening, but it plays at a totally different pace. It plays much slower with an audience, and that's why it's very important, I think, it's painful, but you have to watch it with
Everything
people.
he said, but also it's the difference between being in a dream and being awake. It's because when you're alone with the thing, you're in a dream of it, your hopes for it, and your aspirations for it, and you understand what you want it to be. Then when you play it for somebody else, it just is what it fucking is.
Right.
And if you're not a crazy person, and if you're empathetic, you are snapped awake to, oh, those are the images I'm dealing with. I call this, in our house, we call this the A&R test, because when I was an A&R guy in the record business for those years, that was when we wrote the first script. That's what my day job. That's what I did. I was an A&R guy. But there would be this thing where I had a good knack for knowing when somebody was special. Like I had a good track record at that job. But you would make a record sometimes, or you would get a demo, and you would see what it could be, and I would play it 100 times by myself in my apartment or in the car, and then when I would go sit down with another A&R person, the moment I started playing it, even before it got to the first chorus, I would know if I was in a delusion.
Oh, yeah, no, that's exactly right. It's to say, yeah, even if you're just like, oh, check out, I love this track, or like you're with a girlfriend or whatever, and you want to watch a movie with her, and then you're like, oh wait, like this is, you just feel the pressure that you've curated a moment. Is it falling flat or not? And we just care too much.
You're telling us there's a story
we got to go to
in your own
therapy and
head.
like work on that.
When I write a new joke and people think I'm being insecure, but I'm like, oh, if I'm writing with a friend or whatever, I'm like, let me tell you this, and then I'll say the first 3 words, and I'll be like, never mind, it's not going to work. He's like, you're being insecure, you're being self-loathing. I'm like, I know that this is nothing, even looking at it in front of another person.
It changes.
Yeah.
I got to say one thing though, because my mission to help people not be blocked writers, and like it's one of the most important things for me. When Dan's saying that, he's already written the joke, and it's not going to stop him from writing. It's not going to stop you from writing the joke tomorrow. Meaning, there's a very big difference between auditioning something for someone else and stopping yourself 3 words.
All
in.
of this stuff and these feelings are great as long as you don't quit.
Yes. Thank you.
That's the important other part, and that's also Ira Glass again. That's part of his whole thing, is that a lot of people quit because they can't stand the discomfort and pain of it not being amazing yet. And as long as you keep going,
I have a theory
those
about
feelings
this.
are good as long as you don't quit.
With the kind of success, especially considering the way you were raised, the pressure you were under. And it's easy for people to say, well, the privilege, and that's all true. You were raised with a lot of privilege, so that left only the psychic fucking crushing. And often when someone like that has the kind of success that Jiro gave you, it can calcify certain things. It can be paralytic. So the fact that you then had an even bigger success, a defining success with Chef's Table, and not just commercially, where it made you able to know you provided for yourself and all the rest of it, gave you this huge, a life, but it was artistically very clearly changed the genre forever. How did you stay rigorous? Because obviously I can just tell you like to have a good time. You're a social person. You can be a social person. How did you, because it's hard, man. In success, I always am fascinated.
This is all very generous, by the way.
In big success and in big failure, people fall apart equally, I think.
Yeah.
And in giant success like that, how did you then go, fuck it, I'm making this other thing and I'm going to nail this?
Well, it's like, I think that what happened, so the Jiro success was, the critical acclaim of that movie was just pretty high up there, right?
Yeah.
That definitely was a problem for future
That's what I'm
stuff.
asking.
And so making Chef's Table, I really almost just didn't do it. And I even had it right in front of me, and I almost didn't do it because I was just finishing this horror movie that I did for Blumhouse that was getting, I can't remember, I think I was finishing it and it got just like the worst fucking reviews, and I guess got absolutely just annihilated because I was such a people pleaser on that project. I was like doing it for everybody else.
And that's where you said you never.
And then I was like, I can't do this. So part of what I did on Chef's Table was I hedged by bringing in like some people that were believers in it as well, like Brian McGinn and Andrew Freed, people that could support me, and I could share the potential failure with them. But it wasn't. It turned out it was okay. And part of that was actually being able to trust people and being able to open up kind of because I micromanaged everything on Jiro Dreams of Sushi. Like I was the cinematographer, and I was the editor, I was the sound guy. I brought in an editor because the editing by myself was just impossible. So I brought in my former freshman roommate, Brandon Driscoll Luttringer, who's a fantastic editor, and he made the movie in post with me. But like, man, I like limped across the line on that, just like doing the deal. And that may have been one of the reasons that we got a very favorable terms on the deal for Chef's Table, because I was like looking for any excuse to walk from it. And it turned out okay. So I'm fortunate, with a little help from my friends, like we were able to do it.
Was the horror movie getting bad reviews like the low point of your career?
It was devastating for me. But I didn't know when I was making Jiro, I was like, I knew exactly, I was approaching the taste level. On this horror movie, the notes from the studio and the strength and personality of just like Jason Blum and various producers, and the need for the jump scares and all this stuff, I was just like, how do I get through this? And they didn't let me hire any of my own people or anything, because I was like kind of a fish out of water, being a doc director doing
Had you written
movie.
the movie?
No.
Oh, so you just took the job?
Yeah, I took a job
Because it was available.
Yeah, because I thought I could direct my way out of anything. And the script was a patchwork of notes from different executives who had come in and then left and whatever, and it was just like, and we got it greenlit because we had a fantastic cast. And but it was brutal. I took it very personally, and I think it's a hard thing, I think, for like athletes and for filmmakers, that like a loss you feel like a loser, and then a win you feel like a winner, and like finding yourself through it is hard. But that's also why so many of the great directors are considered difficult, like the Finchers and the Camerons and whatever, because you can't care. It's really weird. You have to not. It's an art to not care that some of the people that may be paying for this thing don't get it and don't like it, and you can't be doing it for them. There's this great thing where he resisted all, and people like Avatar don't like Avatar. I like Avatar 1 because I just love Cameron movies. There's this long sequence. He was telling a story. It's like this long sequence of the flying with the thing, and it's like a very long montage. And the studio's trying to get him to cut it because every second of screen time is fucking $1 million or something crazy. And he's like, no. And it's like, there's no point in the story to have this scene be like so long. And he's like, I want to see it. He does not give a shit. And be able to balance the ability to work with other people, not be a total lunatic, and actually get it done, but then being able to resist the need to people please and lose your compass that's like a lifetime to master, I think.
So are you saying that without that disaster or whatever, without that pain, you might not have done Chef's Table?
No, I would have done it. I almost didn't do it because of the pain, but I think that I was better. I think that again, it's the fluctuation between thinking that you're doing something really great and then it's a disaster. I think that it formed me in a lot of ways. I think it helped. And what it actually really helped me with was knowing that I'm going to trust my own taste. And I'm not going to think that, everybody around me, if I can please everybody else, then like everybody has a good point. Like, let's all work together and make this thing. I think I take in information. I can hear the symptom that is a note, but I'm not going to let the patient prescribe the medicine, if that makes sense.
Tone is really hard to describe, but the filmmaker knows in an unerring way what the tone is supposed to be.
They know what they're making.
And if you allow the tone to slip, the thing becomes rudderless.
Yeah. Or just like taking notes, because like also like test screenings, there's a lot of tests. You want to make all the audience happy and everything, but the audience, like if they don't understand the story, like yes, that's a problem. But it doesn't mean that they're gonna tell you what it should be, and you should listen to that. And it's the same thing with notes from studio executives and stuff like that. I listen for what is the symptom that we're trying to treat here, and then I have to come up with a prescription that's within the language of what we're making.
Do you think that the reason you were drawn to these chefs partially, because I think about what often when we do these things, we don't even realize the conversation we're having with ourselves. Like, we're making something, but do you think that you were, so many of the chefs are uncompromising?
Well, that's why I like
I mean,
story, because that's something that I'm seeking.
that's what I'm wondering
like Jiro
about.
does
yeah.
not give a fuck if you are happy or not in his restaurant. He doesn't care if you're spending $300. Your meal is going to be like 30 minutes, and then he's going to give you. May not talk to you or smile at you once, and they'll give you your melon, and maybe he won't take a picture with you. Like, it's I love that. He's the opposite of a people pleaser. He's only seeking to chase his own taste and take it to a higher and higher level. And I think that chefs kind of have to be like that. It is a service business, but if you're just, I think restaurants can fail if they're just trying to pander to the guests. But then there's the balance, because then if the guests are having a shitty time, then maybe your restaurant is going to have difficulty. So they have a very hard time with it. Jiro doesn't care. He has got 8 seats, and he just does not give a fuck.
But you're also talking about ambition, right?
Yeah.
You're saying that Jiro's ambition has nothing to do with.
Well, he's saying that he's as a people pleaser. It's amazing to see people who are 0%. I mean, all my
Right.
comedy material at its core is about how I'm a people pleaser and I'm
Yes.
envious of people who are not.
Right.
Whether
That's going to be mine also.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll just give you all mine. I mean,
Yeah, so I want to pivot to acting and comedy, because it's actually like documentaries. It's a lot of work, and
There's the incredible gift of doing stand-up, though. Is like bombing is the greatest. If you can get,
embrace the bomb.
if you can really understand what happens when you bomb, that you're okay the next day. Like shitty reviews,
well, bombing changes over time, though. Like, what it means to bomb changes, because now bombing doesn't matter. Bombing matters. Like, if you guys came to my show tonight and Brian was like, he's actually really good, wait till you see this, he's funny, and then I didn't, and I wasn't really myself, like, that would be a bomb. But if I went up in front of 2,000 people tonight and just didn't do well, but I didn't really know anyone there, like, I wouldn't think that was a bomb.
I think that's why it was necessary for me to get the bad reviews, to kind of release me of the fear.
So you weren't, when you did the horror, you didn't, at the time, you didn't think it was a huge risk, because you were like, I can direct my way.
Because the thing is, I knew that it would make, it's a low enough budget in a genre that will make money, and it did make money.
Right.
Like, and I was offered more movies after that of the same genre.
Oh,
yeah, I
nice.
was offered
Okay.
Insidious 3. I could have directed Insidious 3 instead of making Chef's Table, but I was too afraid of failing again. It was just too raw, and then Chef's Table, like we get some great reviews, and we get some people, we get the haters too, and
Sure.
it comes in. I realize it kind of is. I've stopped caring as much, and that's been really liberating, and that's why I didn't want to direct that much of Chef's Table, because I didn't want to get compared to Jiro, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to do that again.
and you did this whole season of Chef's Table.
Yeah, we're about to start shooting. I'm just shooting 8 consecutive episodes.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's-
I'm just. And
is
I'm,
there a
I'm bringing. I'm
theme?
bringing back the Jiro. I'm going to literally shoot the whole thing. Like, I'm going to bring back the whole Jiro
You're the
mentality.
you're the cinematographer too.
Correct. Yeah. When I relinquished holding the camera in my hands, I kind of got a little lost, and then I just wanted to make the camera like, your ideas are great too, and da da da. I like to hold the camera, and also I'm also going to be okay with the looseness of the documentary camera. We've been very meticulous on Chef's Table about making sure that everything is always in focus. There's a steady cam. There's a thing. We're lighting every single kitchen, and I'm stripping away a bunch of these things because the technology is allowing me to do more with less. And we're just going to see how that goes. And again, I'm relying on a very tight crew to do it.
How do you stay curious about like restaurants and chefs and stuff, or is the technological curiosity enough?
No, the tech is what makes me. I love to try to make. I want to make the Matrix. Can I go? This is the real thing. Okay, I didn't want to make documentaries. That's why I was like. My dad, because I had declared myself that I didn't want to make documentaries. My dad is actually reflecting my own ambition back at me by saying, "When are you going to make a real movie?" Because I had been saying I want to be like Fincher, I want to be like Cameron, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I realized that those roles are taken by them. Like I'm the therapy and time, I've been able to just accept myself. But I want to make things that look cool, like The Matrix. Like, I just fucking love The Matrix. I want to get those cool feelings in cool stories. But I've also, that's where, I relied on Brian a great deal to help find the great chef stories and who are the right chefs and stuff, because I love to eat, but I'm not like watching other food
Brian's
content.
amazing. Like
Yeah,
when
he knows
if I'm
everything.
traveling somewhere
His
or
lists are, like,
someone in my
insane.
family is,
Yeah.
we'll just text Brian, who was one of the directors on the show,
Yeah.
and say like, hey, one of your partners on it,
Yes,
and go,
yes.
hey, someone I know is going to Sardinia.
Yeah,
and
then he
he'll
has,
be
like,
like, I have
like,
my, let me send you
got
my
it.
Sardinia map.
Coffee, this thing. And he tells you what you should be doing at this time. And so he's like a genius with all of that, like selecting the chefs in the restaurant. And so, but what I get most excited about, I love like the charisma of the characters. I love going to the location and feeling the location. And I love like getting in there with the camera and like lensing it and like finding the way to shoot it.
Can you talk about how you like just a very simple, typical Chef's Table episode? What is the schedule? Like, what are the first steps, and then how long does it take?
Conventionally, and this is we're changing this, but it's a 10-day shoot. It involves first we're casting the chefs based on the story that we are aware of from press, from preliminary conversations with the chef. We build kind of an outline of what we think the story is, and that's what we're going to be asking about during like the talking head interview. Then we build a schedule. We need like a couple sourcing scenes. We need a couple experts to kind of set the context for the chef, kind of like that Yamamoto character in Jiro Dreams of Sushi. We do a family cookout or some kind of thing with friends. You know, there's certain, like, we call them buckets. And there are certain buckets of types of scenes that we know will give us the right amount of screen time and help us kind of give us visuals to stitch together what is really a verbal, it's like a, what is it, a oral telling of, the chef is giving like an oral telling of their lives, you know? And so we have to fill these buckets of material. There's a food beauty, you know, which is the most important kind of visual element of the show. At food beauty, we shut down the restaurant, but they have to bring in all the chefs and we like cook the thing. Then we also have all the kitchen process shooting, and then we have the mock service, which is where we invade the dining room. We fill it up with their regulars and people that are not going to mind being filmed while eating.
Yeah, I was asked to do one. I couldn't
Oh yeah,
come.
you couldn't come to the mock service.
Yeah,
you would have crushed on that mock.
I would have
service,
really
dude.
enjoyed it, but
Yeah,
Tatiana. But
these are the
I
kind of
couldn't-
things that
I couldn't go.
we gotta kind of hit these buckets to make sure that we have the material to put the episode together.
Do you eat all the food?
I mean, I eat all the food on the episodes that I go to. I mean, I'm like, a lot of the time, and actually the crew always eats the food. So when we do the food beauty, you know, everybody's got their little like tool belts, and this goes for the grip and the gaffer, camera people, whatever. And as soon as, actually a super cut of this would be great. As soon as like the top down shot, it's like fork, spoon, da 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 da, and the food is just annihilated immediately afterwards.
I've never heard you talk about that before, and that is fucking
It's
awesome.
a good time. It's a good time. I will
would
tell
love
you,
to see that,
every
yeah.
single close up of sushi in Jiro Dreams of Sushi, that sushi was eaten by me or the person who is on camera that it's placed in front of. But like, I remember running back like pieces because I missed the focus. Because I needed another Toro. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Can you tell the story of the first question you asked Massimo Bottura?
Oh, yes, of course. So going into Chef's Table, I'm like, oh, you know, I got to go deep on these. I got to go deep. You know, this is like what I'm about. You know, I know the father-son story works so well in Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And so we're sitting down for this interview, and we chose this location, and it's like so noisy. There's cobblestones and carts, and it was like starting and stopping, halting and stopping. And so we're like kind of sitting down for the interview. It's like, okay, cool. Like, so I guess we'll just I'm going to lay down like his life story right now. We're just like lay it down, and then I'll feel safe that I have the life story. Sit down. I was like, yeah. So like, let's talk about. Tell me about. Tell me about your father. And he's just like. And he kind of sits there for a while. And he's like, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And he like takes his mic off and does a full walkout. First interview, first question. And I think that's a $700,000 at the time. It was like $700,000, $800,000 episode investment that we've made. You know, if you include all the post production and everything. And I'm like, okay, this is. I like felt fucking fucked. I was like, this is an absolute disaster. And then his wife, Lara, got eventually, you know, kind of negotiated with him. And I was like, because I realized I fucked up. Like, I also Italians, something about the machismo or there's something going on there. And we got him back over because he was having a pizza party at some restaurant, and then he gave me a pizza, and it was like another chance to do it. And then we worked our way back up. The story about his dad is not in the.
It's fascinating that you
show.
bring up Massimo and pizza because his favorite pizzeria is Una Pizza Napoletana in New York City.
Yeah.
Anthony Mangieri, who has, I think, criminally
Shout out Anthony.
been left off the
Yeah,
show. The
it was
best
horrible.
pizzaiola in the world.
It's horrible. I heard that he was criminally left out of the series.
He is. We'll go to his pizzeria. It really is truly like the most remarkable. You'd freak out and yeah, it's really
I hear it's great.
it's a black mark against the.
Do you think you're good? Like, are you good at asking questions? Like, are there people who are better than you at doing talking head interviews?
No. I mean, look, I have my way of doing it, and the way that I do it gets me to what I want. So for me, I would rather do it myself. And there are other. I mean, look, there are fantastic episodes on Chef's Table that I've not directed. I've only directed 6 or 7 episodes of the entire series, but I like. I know where I'm going, and a lot. It has to do with who said you were not a genius when you were a little kid. Like, who told you that you had to be the best and then you weren't able to do it? Like, I'm very curious about why people do what they do and the traumas that made them. And so I'm always seeking that superhero origin story. It's like, what is the moment that you realize that you had your powers or whatever? And how did you misuse them? And why? And then how did you learn to live with yourself? And part of it is because I'm going through that journey myself and I want to learn. I'm genuinely curious about it. I also have a style of just kind of disarming. Like, people usually think that I'm a lot older because of it's kind of like, masterpiece theater-ish kind of vibes. And so I kind of just come in like with Jiro, where they were like really worried about me. Like, they're like, this kid is like in a lot of trouble. Like, so they help me.
Hemorrhaging money.
They help me through the interview because they want it to be good, because they can see that I am in distress often. And I'm doing that with the podcast too. For Chef's Table Talks, I'm like, wow, I really hope that we get some views on this one.
Do you more remember?
Help, please help.
Do you more remember people when you were young who noticed that you were special, or the people who didn't notice that you were special?
I don't remember. I mean, I know that they were like, I was like bullied. My mom didn't dress me cool. I had bad haircut. Like, I mean, there were certain issues.
She put you together today?
Yeah. I mean, no, this is me as an homage to my mother right now. Thank you, baby. I'm with you. I got you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. You did the best you could. And, I accept my mom was, I love my family. It's all fine. So I'm not too traumatized. But I remember not being cool. And part of the people pleasing comes from wanting to be included in things, and then also just trying to like be on my parents' good side and wanting to be like the good son or whatever. But I remember praise more than I remember. It was a really cool moment. Josh Safdie and I went to high school together, or middle school and high school together, and we were both like obsessed with movies. We co-directed little short films and stuff together. We went and we saw Requiem for a Dream in theaters, and it had as you can see, it had a large impact on Josh. And so he and Benny and I would like make little things on iMovie together, and we got a lot of praise for those things, and that made me feel really good about making stuff. And so it was nice to hear that, like, oh, this is cool. And I liked feeling cool. So that was like, I remember the praise more. I don't really remember any specific like bullying incidents.
In terms of the praise thing, like, do you still, if the next season of Chef's Table is considered the greatest thing ever, is that just more of the same, or like, is that still a success?
I think that if people don't say that it sucks, because
Yeah.
we are going to fuck with the format just a
So
little
you want
bit.
to take risks?
I will take some risks on it. I think that I'm doubling down on the things about the show that I love the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if I follow that taste, I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
But I think that if we can get a lot of the time, just continuity, getting another season is the ultimate success if we get to keep doing it. And that's my goal, is to keep people watching.
Right. Okay. So I would have thought that you had that thing where you're like, I need to win at something else now.
No, I've given that up. I would like to try different things, and I would like to win them, but I don't have to be anything more than what I am right now.
Because the work, I'll just say, that's just another version of asking when he's going to make a real movie. But
No,
to
no,
me,
I
but
love-
no,
I
it
think
is
he
kind
makes
of
real movies.
But to me,
No, I'm letting go of the need to.
that's right.
This was fine, but now I got to one up myself again. It's like I've let that go, and actually, in letting it go, I know that I will one up. No, I'm
I don't know. I
kidding,
think like the impact. I just think that the fact that you can make a thing that people will watch 8, 9, 10, 12 episodes in a row, and you've given them in a world right now that like at every minute is coming at them and making them feel miserable, and you allow them to have these moments of escape that are deep, because it's not just a kind of thin escape, it's thick. And I think that's super. I mean, I really do
Also,
think
it
that
celebrates the arts
Yes.
in a real way.
well,
I try to-
artists
yeah,
in the
and-
arts, 100%, man.
I like to shine a light on something that's cool. I like to share something that's cool. I remember the first time, or one of the first or second times I went to Japan, and I brought back some action figures because they didn't have the same kind of they had different action figures and stuff in Japan, and like different kind of like the cartoons were like different and cooler. And I remember bringing this back and like showing my friends in like second grade, and the idea of showing somebody something cool is great. And then that also, I think that also goes into like the pain of you want to show somebody cool, and then you're watching them watch it or whatever, and you're like, is it not?
Yeah.
Because
I have that too.
Yeah, but I think that like letting go of, a lot of these things are stories in our head. Like where somebody's watching something and they're not like smiling or laughing or whatever, we're just creating a narrative in our mind about what we were spinning in our own heads about what people think of us. You don't get a text back, or somebody takes a month to read a script, or it's like these things we put into our mind, all these narratives about what we fear is happening. And so it's good to just kind of like let go of these things. And for me, I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to keep just making shit.
Dude, you're a
So
legend.
kind. Thank you for joining us. I'm
Love
glad
you,
I found
buddy.
you on the
It's a
train.
pleasure.
You're awesome.
You're so sweet, man. Thank you
This
so
was
much.
great.
Thank
Dan,
you for joining
love
us.
you, buddy.
You too.
All right, you guys can start the real podcast now.
Oh, we could, I think we. I don't know
You're
how much
amazing,
more
Brian.
time.
Thank you so much, dude. And do I have your number?
If you
We should hang.
I'll give it to you.
Brian has it and Dan.
Okay, perfect. That I'm genuinely here because
I know.
I want you to let me open for you one day.
Dude.
Um,
But for real, what I will do, and then we'll go back to talking about food stuff. Next time you're here, I would sit with you for a couple hours, write some shit, and then I'll take you to an open mic.
I would love to do that.
Nobody's gonna know who you are at an open mic.
No, it's great. I love that.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I mean.
I love that because
genuinely...
I like doing Q&As, and it's like very easy to like set up and like knock them down in the Q&As. Like I
Yeah.
can get like laughs in those situations.
Yeah, because you're
but
funny.
it feels good.
But it's a scary. Doing stand up is a completely different.
Yeah, and I expect
You're the
I have the
funniest
proper
guy
humility.
who's directing, and they can't imagine that a person who's on the mic in those Q&As would actually be funny. They're so like, what classical
Yeah,
music?
yeah,
What are we
yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
No, when I was like, I was curious, and he made it. Brian said that I was like, when are you going to make a real movie? That's not it. My making food things was not scary for me anymore, and I'm so desperate to prove to myself that I'm talented. And so I didn't care about making the food things anymore because I didn't get to your level, but like I could have gone to any of the company. I mean, I could have probably like reached out to. I could have come and directed for you eventually if I really went down that path. And I was like, I need to find a new thing that I suck at because I'm endlessly obsessed with proving to myself that I'm not an idiot.
Yes.
And so that's why I started stand up.
Yes.
And that's when I'm asking you, like, that's why I'm so interested in the horror movie, because like horror movie, you were maybe a little delusional going in, but like, are you fearful of taking of like really being naked like that again?
No, I've kind of shed it. I would do it again, but I'm also want to make something. It's because it's so much work. It's so much more work to do a scripted movie than a documentary. I mean, documentary is its own skills, but the amount, the preparation, because each day is so expensive, and you need to assemble all the production design and all the pieces and the actors and all this stuff. Like you have to get it right. So I wouldn't be. I have to be rigorous about the script, and I would write my own script for it, so that I really truly know what I'm making.
And the idea of you going out there and getting 50% on Rotten Tomatoes for a comedy or something that has nothing to do with
I don't
food?
believe that I would. I think that I honestly believe that if I went out there and I made something that I actually like understood and like believed in, that I wrote myself, And I've had some like starts and stops for some things that I realize I kind of are losing the thread, or I'm getting notes from the producer that's helping me that would make it more of a conventional, and then I'm kind of imitating another movie. I'm not going to do that because the amount of work that it takes to do it is so vast that it has to be true. It has to be something that feels real.
Interesting. Okay, so you're not worried about that. But then what about doing 5 minutes of stand-up in front of real people?
That I'm fine with because it's 5 minutes. You know, I think that it's the years of work that it takes to make the feature film and to push that boulder up the hill. Like, it has to mean something. Otherwise, I don't want to do it.
Okay.
And it's not about the response from the audience. It's about, I want to make something that I think is good, that I would want to watch.
So this was my projection, but I thought when the horror movie didn't work out the way you wanted it to, I thought then you were like, because I have felt in days when I feel like I suck at stand-up, I'm like, well, let me go make food things again.
Yeah.
I at least was good at that. I
Yeah.
know that I could have a job. For me, it's all about like people needing me. Like, I want to feel like I have assistance, and people are like, oh, Dan's going to be here in 15 minutes. He'll get it done. Like, the problem with doing something just on my own is like I have to build my own schedule, and I suck at that.
Yeah.
So
I feel that.
I thought that that's like, if I was you making Jiro and then making something that you weren't as happy with, I was like, okay, well, I'll run back to the place where I'm needed again.
Yes, and that's why Chef's Table. Part of the reason that Chef's Table exists, I think, was because I did look for safe ground, but I still was even approaching that with a great amount of fear, and the
Right, 'cause then if that flops-
fear doesn't really do much for us. You know, like, we should experience fear, and then we can use that to inform a choice or not. But we shouldn't be like making decisions with fear as the primary factor. I did believe that Chef's Table would work because I think the format of Jiro works. I was very afraid of it being compared to Jiro and not being as good, but I've also let go of that. Like, and if people, I think that some people may like Chef's Table more than Jiro, and that's totally fine.
But you poured everything into Chef's Table, right? Like, there's no way things are good.
The first season I did, and then I did, like, I trusted, and it was a good choice to let Brian McGinn really like run the show for, seasons. I was like very intensely involved in 1, 2, and 3, and then I was off doing some other things and some other projects, and doing a lot of commercial projects and various other stuff, developing and writing movies that I did not get to make.
But you did your best.
But I did. But even then, I was still kind of hedging, and I think that was that. And this is the big sea change for me was stopping smoking weed was like a big thing. And I'm not like anti-weed, but it was
I'm
I'm
anti-weed.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen, there are very few, I think weed has amazing tricks.
Yes.
Weed convinces you that there are things you think of when you're smoking weed that you can't think of other times.
Yes.
It has like these amazing actual benefits, but I don't know anyone that weed benefits in aggregate.
The only curious one about that is Seth Rogen, which I don't understand how productive he is.
Yeah.
Considering how much
There,
he
and there's
smokes.
anomalies in everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for me, the weed was actually really holding me back, and it was making me miss opportunities. It was making me poor at communication, and it was also just giving me a general feeling of anxiety and less than-ness.
So the first
where I
kid didn't change?
relinquished a lot of my power. Having kids moved me in the direction of stopping to smoke
got it.
weed. But
It's tough
then
to like get baked and see your kids.
no, it sucks. You don't want to do that. And the kids, you want to be present for that. You want to remember it. You don't want to be overthinking. You don't want to make a mistake because it's like these kids are like, this is your life, You can't like, oops, I left the kid in the car. Like, that's not okay. And so there's a certain responsibility as a parent that helped me get me out of there. That therapy helped me realize that I was like, I had convinced myself that I needed weed to just enjoy things. Like, and that if I wasn't on weed, that I was just like in an existential black hole, and we're all just creatures trying to be comfortable until we die, and everything is like bullshit. Like, that was like I had convinced myself of this. Then when I got off of it, with the help of a great hypnotherapist named Carrie Gaynor, legendary hypnotherapist, and people can get his courses online to help quit smoking or anxiety or whatever. The story in my head, I realized I started to learn was bullshit once I was off of it. But I did find that I had been so high that I had allowed a series of relationships that did not have boundaries that I was actually not comfortable with, and I was smoking away the discomfort. And I was in a state of arrested development because I'd been smoking every day since I was 17 years old. And so coming out of that,
You're smoking in Japan?
I mean, I'm eating edibles in Japan. I'm like
Okay.
smuggling. I mean, and I've taken risks that I should not have taken.
Me too.
Hiding
I
various.
was a huge pothead between 18 and 22.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, hiding gummies amongst other gummies and things, and like evading, knowing that I could evade detection and being creative and smart about it, but unnecessary. But yeah, I was high, but I was actually while shooting Jiro, I was the least high that I had been while I was making that because it's just you can't get weed, and I ate my weed cookies pretty quickly, and then I was just like, wow, now I have to like really just look life in the face here, and I was feeling pretty good coming back from that. But
What about drinking?
drinking, I've never like been like a crazy drunk, but I use drinking is something that I've used. When I got off of weed, I started drinking more, and I started like jumping into like other drugs and
So
kind
you're
of
a little
replacing
addicty.
a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm addicted to different things. The healthiest addiction that I have now to not do drugs, not smoke weed, is playing chess, which kind of hits my brain in a certain fun way, and I'm not good at it. Tennis, like there are good things that you can be obsessed with that are like make you feel good.
What are some big like sort of therapy takeaways? Like what do you work on a lot? Is it just all like
It's working on this people pleasing, holding the discomfort of being able to set a boundary and being okay with somebody being upset with you.
I see you as like one of the great documentary makers and movie makers.
Thank you.
What do you think? What mistakes do you think people make in making documentaries? Like what?
Oh, I think the biggest mistake that I see is people working on one documentary for just way too long. People say, I've been shooting this thing for 6 years and I'm still editing it and da 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 da, and I just need to get this and this piece. And people come to me because whenever we do a screening for something, I draw a lot of filmmakers who want to ask questions, and the big question is like, well, how do I get my thing I've been working on for 6 years distributed? And my only answer to that is go make another thing. And Jiro, I worked on, it was a year-long process. The coffee thing, year-long process. I think a year is a good amount of time, and some stories may require, and there are amazing stories like Mind the Gap where it happened over like a long amount of time, but you should be making other things at the same time. So it's about volume of work. Don't try to do one perfect thing because it's not going to be that, and a lot of people don't finish because it's not perfect yet, and it will never be perfect. It'll be done at some point, and then you make the next thing. And you can also work on multiple projects at the same time, but the biggest mistake is getting hung up on that one great American documentary that's going to be your thing, and then they just don't move on or make the next thing, because only through the volume of work do you kind of bridge that taste gap where you're trying to make the thing that you like, and then people don't finish it because it's not perfect.
And what about in terms of pacing, or do you think people fetishize certain like lines of dialogue, or do you think people fetishize things that are like emotional without having enough action?
I think everything's different. It's about, I think that people get caught up. Directors, especially directors that are editors, get caught up in stuff that may not actually be there for the audience. That's why I think movies are too long. And these are like great filmmakers, I think, are making movies that are too long. Because I think that like Killers of the Flower Moon, it's a cool movie. It's like a little long, and it's like, and Scorsese's earned the right to make his movie as long as he wants, and people are not going to tell him that he's wrong. But for younger filmmakers, I think that we need to, that's where watching in front of the audience, like we were talking about before, is so important. So you can feel if the person is seeing what you're seeing, because you were there. Time moves at a different pace for you. There's additional context because you're watching a thing and you remember what was surrounding that. You remember how cool your setup was for it, or whatever the thing is that got you that cool shot.
Right.
And the audience does not give a shit. There are things in context that may not. And also, like when you're talking about when you're workshopping your jokes, you're saying a thing, and the audience may not actually know enough context or not understand who the uncle is or whatever the thing is. you have to look at it very brutally from the audience's point of view, and just realize like there are some cool facts and details and stuff that you want to include. The audience just does not care, and you'll lose them if you cling to stuff that they can't see. And the only way to do that is have the courage to screen it for people.
You've created a lot of very famous chefs, and this industry has created a lot of very famous chefs. Do you think celebrity is hurtful for chefs as like artists?
I think no, I don't know. I think that if they're able to have the juice to be able to do good work, and they're making cool restaurants, and they're committing to that, and the show helps them do that, because I mean, why do people choose one restaurant over another restaurant? Sure, it's like
They know the
pizza's
story.
great, but like you know the story.
Right.
This guy, like you're talking about Anthony Mangieri, and it's amazing. Like the story of the pizza, I don't know what the story is. Obviously, I missed the ball on that one.
You really fucked
I
up,
really
bro.
fucked up. Let me know that maybe 6 to 7
Can
times.
I tell you, I really liked how you handled that, because that wasn't very people pleaser of you. Like for me, if again, you know, some of the stuff I did on YouTube went crazy viral for these people, and so I would have people being like, you have to do this one, and I'm not good at in the moment. I'm very quick to say, oh yeah, I'll look into it. But I mean, obviously you're a little older, you've had a lot more things, so you're a little better at being like, you know, a guy like Brian Koppelman tells me I have to go shoot something, I'm gonna be like, I'll do.
No, I mean, look,
but you're very good at being like, oh, how did I miss it? Like,
Well,
I'm sure you just hear that every day.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did that special for him because he didn't just say it was, maybe I should look into him. He said it is a tragedy.
yeah.
What did he say? His language was so intense.
One of the great shunnings
great tragedies
of
and
contemporary
disaster.
media or
Yeah.
something.
And so I just was like, oh, that who. I just agree with him. Just like you are absolutely right. I love agreeing with the critics. Being like, they're like, yeah, this is like really sucks. It's like, yeah, what? That is horrible. That is bad. And it's a little more fun, I guess, to do that. But I also, you know, if people care enough, they want to tell me what to do. Like I'll look. I do say I look into it. That's the normal thing. It's just like, oh, thank you. I say thank you.
Yeah.
That they care. You know, it's nice.
My theory on the celebrity thing is I think that like so much. One of the things that I get into with people is defending fine dining. So I cooked for a while, and I grew up like cooking in restaurants.
Yeah.
And I come
cool.
from a food family. My aunt, my grandma owned the first cooking store in Toronto, like kind of upscale pots and pans or whatever. My aunt's a cookbook author, and also when my parents, you know, I had a car and I had some money when I was 16, so me and my brother would eat pretty much like the majority of our meals out.
Nice.
So I just like restaurants mean a lot to me. I spend a lot of time defending fine dining. I'm like, even if you don't go, you have to respect it like you would respect the opera, or you would respect and I
Yes.
explain all the intricacies of what goes into getting a perfect plate. All these different elements are cooked in different places. They have to be the right temperature. They
Right.
all have to be seasoned correctly. Like this is a dance, and it is impressive. And yeah, you may not ever spend $600 to go, but it doesn't mean that that you can laugh at it. You can laugh at it, and
Well, no,
and
it
is
doesn't
silly.
mean that it's stupid.
It doesn't
like
mean that
saying
it's
that you may not like it,
Yeah.
or it may not be your cup of tea, or you think that a person's taste or their opinion on it may be one thing, but that doesn't mean that
Right.
I don't appreciate that they say that it's stupid or that it's a ripoff or whatever.
Yeah, some of them are a ripoff, maybe.
Sure. Well, look, here's the thing about sushi, right? So you got like, and I was actually just talking to Philip Lee, who does sushi by scratch.
Yeah.
And he took a lot of heat being a white guy making sushi, right?
I have a joke about that. I want to do about this, by the way.
I will tell you. We had some good conversation. He was on my pod, and I went on his pod. If the rice is good, then people then go make something that's tasty. As long as it tastes good, I think it's fine. And he's tries hard and he works hard and he builds his
people
teams
love
and stuff.
to think of it like people just have the
And
wrong
it's like,
idea. They think
it's fine and it's tasty and it's good. And as long as you're doing the rice right and you care and you're like getting those fundamentals right,
Yeah.
do what you want with it.
well, you know who never cares is Japanese chefs. They don't give a fuck. They're like excited that this guy's excited about it.
Yeah. No, they do like it. Japanese people like his sushi.
And they like that he's doing it. What the fuck do they don't
Absolutely.
care?
No, they don't.
It's only the media or whatever.
Yeah. And but what I'm trying to say is that it's not a ripoff if they are actually trying to do the fundamentals right. You know, if you're taking some shitty rice and you're putting a bunch of caviar and truffles on top of it and serving it for a $600 omakase, and they're like the rice is
Right.
mushy. If people are doing the fundamentals and they're putting the energy and the effort into it, then, you know, whether you can afford it or not, you can respect. Like, I can't afford to have certain paintings in my house, obviously. Like, but it doesn't mean that it's stupid that if somebody's willing to pay that for it. But actually, even more so for the fine dining, there are a lot of chefs. It's like very expensive to have that room look the way it is, to have that kind of service, and it's a performance art. And I whether or not you like it or not doesn't mean that it's bad. You know, so I'm with you on defending that and the energy and effort that people put into that.
What are some criticisms that people have lodged at you and Chef's Table and stuff that you've actually been like, yeah, that's...
You know, honestly, the real criticisms that I have are me criticizing. I'm always looking to see what we can do better, because ultimately I want to make the thing that I want to watch. And I think the team has done like a really great job. The criticism that we get has always been who we're choosing.
There's been...
Do people deserve the Chef's Table about them? And I think that everyone does, because everybody has a story. If you're going to choose to be a chef, it's a very generous line of work. It's a work that requires... There are easier ways to make money, you know. There are easier ways to be famous. Like, and I think the misconception, and a lot of chefs talk about, is like they think that, like, if I have some TikTok followers, then then you're like a chef and you can go open a restaurant. But the people that we're selecting are people who really have put their hearts and soul into it. They have a story to tell.
Yeah. Do you find yourself sort of like morally evaluating people before you go into it? Like, for instance, I was telling you when I was picking people, I would want people who I felt like did want it, but I was like elitist about that. Like, I was like, I want to give press to people who really just want to stay in the restaurant.
Oh yeah, no, we want that too, because we want chefs, not actors, you know.
Yeah.
And some of them are able to do both, and that's great, but they have to want to cook. So like, it's very rare that submissions that we're getting from publicists were like considering, I'll just do a people please, like thank you, or I'll just ignore it. We're seeking out and negotiating to get into the kitchens of people that are very busy and they care deeply, deeply, deeply about what they're doing.
Yeah. Interesting. Let me see if there's any last food things, and then we can
Yeah.
bugger off. Why do Jews love sushi so much?
It's a good question. Because we have nobody would know. It's the only time somebody will pay attention to us. Like, we're like we get to sit there, and the chef actually like looks you in the eye, and you can be like, I always get this. I always get the dynamite here.
Yeah.
I get the dynamite. Well, he makes it special for me. My grandpa would take me to a restaurant as a kid, and he would always be getting the off menu, the secret special item.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's just about like trying to feel cool and validate our existence in this.
They're looking at you.
In this black void of space.
Right. And it's a time where we know, because we do our research, we know what we're talking about, and the fact that we can distinguish between the hamachi and the kampachi.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
we're taking dates to sushi, and
of course.
they're making it special. They're making the sushi special for us.
Have you ever sat at okay, I got two for you. Do you know that a very common prompt on Hinge or question on dating apps is like, when people will say like, I know the best spot in town for. So many women write, and I guess men too, but I don't see the men's profiles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They have men's profiles?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. They say, I know the best spot in town for omakase.
Oh yeah, omakase is so hot right now.
So hot right now.
I think that it's something about being special and being in the know, and the chef, like, give me that thing. You know what I like. I've seen so many guys coming around like, give me the Jesse roll. It's like, yeah, I have a roll named after me here, and it's like, yes, it's actually just it's a spicy tuna roll. His name is Jesse. Like, we get it.
I also think that Japanese people are.
Shout out to Jesse.
Do you know Jesse?
Yeah, there is a Jesse out there. I
They're
don't think he's listening though.
He might. Yeah. He's like, oh, he talked about his personal life. The Japanese people are so good at making you feel all we want to feel, Jews, bros, whatever, people on dates, is that we're seen.
Yeah, we want to be seen.
Japanese people are so,
They're
sushi
making it
chefs
special for us.
are really good at being like, he really knows. They don't have an ego as much in the same way that we do.
Yeah.
So if a normal chef, you walk in and you're like, oh, I know what you're doing or whatever, they're like, Oh yeah, you do. I bet you do. You work at fucking a bank and you come in and you eat. You pay to eat. You don't. Oh yeah, whatever, buddy. Japanese people are like, you are really smart. He really. This
Yeah,
guy
no,
that
they're
you're
so
with.
like, oh,
this
like-
guy that
and then
you're
you
with.
say a word in Japanese, they're like, oh, he speaks Japanese better than me, or
Yeah,
like whatever.
yeah.
But then you got otherwise it's like the menu, and the bros are coming in, and then the chef probably wants to kill them. I imagine. I don't even know.
Have you ever been eating at a sushi restaurant and you hear people talking
All
about
the
Jiro
time.
Dreams of Sushi?
All the time, especially dates.
Yeah.
It's like, have you ever seen Jiro Dreams Sushi? Like this guy, like does it just like that thing. I mean, I used to hear it more. I mean, I hear people talking about Chef's Table and Jiro Dreams of Sushi all the time.
How do you feel?
I feel fucking great. I fucking love it.
Yeah, I was on a date.
I feel amazing about it. to
I
be
was on a
honest.
date and
I feel seen.
you feel seen.
Yeah.
That must feel good. It's never the cooler people that are doing that though. It's the annoying bros often that are like, this spot's the best. Like
This spot,
do you ever
yeah, this
hear
spot's
when-
the best. Yeah. Somebody told me, shout out if you're listening because you know who you are. She told me that she lost her virginity while watching Jiro Dreams of Sushi
No.
in the background.
Yeah.
And that's an improvement from people just saying that I put it on to go to sleep at night. But that was very funny. I
Wow.
like that.
That's great. But they must actually love like you must walk into a sushi bar and they have reverence for you. Like they probably know what you did for the game.
Yes.
Like I was on a date at a bar downtown and I had shot a video about them and the bartender goes, "Dude, you made that video?" He's like, "I am a bartender because of that video."
That's amazing.
And I didn't even get laid.
What was it all for? I mean, no, but part of the reason I made Jiro and like do the chef is because I want to be known at like I like to walk into the restaurant and have it be a little special.
'Cause
I don't
people-pleasing?
mind it. I like it.
Yeah.
I do like it. I'm not gonna just like lie and be like, oh, I just do it for the craft. If I can get a free hand roll out of it,
Right.
then that's nice. It feels special. I remember when Nozawa, Nozawa's the founder of Sugarfish. He's closing, right? People are waiting online for the final Nozawa meal. I get in there and he like winks at me. He hands me a straight up hand roll just full of uni, just like loaded up with uni, and like winks at me. He's never seen him give an uni hand roll, and I was like, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It feels so good to
Yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
feel special at a sushi bar.
Yeah. I think also that in terms of feeling seen, like Japanese people, they don't have the same level of ego, right? So they are excited that you know the difference between the sea urchin and it's not put on, right?
Yes.
They're like, oh, this one's East Coast or whatever, and then this one's West Coast, and you're like, of course the West Coast is a little sweeter, and then he's, oh, David knows.
David knows. Japanese people are genuinely kind people, and like you go to Japan, like it's okay. Try to speak Japanese. Like I go into like if I say like at the end of the meal, I go gochu sosama deshita. They're like, which means like there's a great meal. Thank you for the meal. They're like, ah, it's like amazing. But like try doing that in France.
Right. All these.
Merci beaucoup. It's like
Thank
okay,
you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Oh yeah, go make another documentary.
No, they don't. They haven't seen it, and they don't see Chef's Table in France. They don't give a shit.
No, and also like
We went out to a French chef. He had no idea.
Really?
Yeah. There's a French dessert guy I want to do, and he was like,
but that's the one you want.
I've never heard of you.
Yeah, that's the one you want. That's the
I
old
do not
school.
have time for
That's the
such
chase.
things. Yeah, exactly.
And then do you get like, okay, I gotta show this guy.
Yeah, then I write a crazy letter. I can
You
write.
write crazy letters?
Dude, I can write letters that will make people feel very special and seen.
Okay.
I'm good at making people feel seen, and that's how I can get in there for some of the tougher chefs. Is the nice letter works.
The nice letter.
Yeah.
And then they go and call someone that they know, because someone.
Word
that
on
they
the
know.
street is that like Wolfgang Puck. I did a Wolfgang Puck documentary. He remembered Jiro Dreams of Sushi, but he wasn't sure if he wanted to because he likes to be in control of everything. He's never done like a full documentary about himself. Talked to his son and a couple other people, and they were like, "You have to do this." So word on the street has helped us a lot. I would say, yeah.
How do you okay, how do you convince a chef to let you show them doing something that they're fucking up, right? Like, or to let you capture a mistake?
Well, we're just filming, and if it happens,
No, I know,
it
but
happens.
are you like, because are they not like, don't show that, I screwed that up?
I don't recall that situation
Oh, really?
specifically. They're pretty like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of the time, no. Not really. I mean, they've been because they know when they come onto it that we're just going to do what we want with the story, and they have to sign the release form. They're only allowed to, ask request changes for factual inaccuracy, and they trust us. The first season, when Massimo stormed out of the interview and stuff, like people had seen Jiro Dreams of Sushi, but Chef's Table is much more famous than Jiro Dreams of Sushi. Actually, I think. So then it became easier later, but in that first season, they didn't understand why we were in the kitchen for so long. And they're on their best behavior a lot of the time when we're filming, I'm sure.
Do you not catch them getting frustrated?
We do.
And how do you and I think that's actually why things like amphetamines and whatever, because it's easy to feel down about that, like, oh, this guy doesn't want me here anymore. But like, you just have to know that in aggregate, the thing you're making is great.
Yeah, and it's also true. After a while, they don't want us there anymore, and it's exhausting for them.
I always used to tell them that ahead of time. I would say, even if we were there for a day, you'll have some fun in the first hour, and then you'll be like, or a couple hours, you'll be like, get these people the hell out of here.
Setting that expectation is good, I think.
It doesn't help.
But we do that's when we like later in the show. That's when we go on like the field trips to the farm or like whatever. We like mix it up, and the chefs have been kind. And we choose chefs that are going to play. That are going to play ball with us and are going to be chill with us. Mm-hmm. The hardest, the most difficult, when I say difficult, it's so unfair to say difficult. And I'm not saying it because she's, because like women, when they're assertive and strong, like they're difficult. But Alice Waters.
You mean they're difficult?
They're difficult.
Yeah, sorry.
But she is actually,
for those listening,
difficult to direct. She does not actually want to be directed. I don't know that she has actually watched a Chef's Table episode, but she was encouraged to do it because her message is very important. She is the boss in every moment of everything that she's doing at all times. And she was 100% sick of me by the second day of shooting. But I give her credit for like persevering through it. My favorite part was when we came over to her house. She refused to cook anything. She was like, I don't cook. I'm not going to cook anything for you. And I was like, oh, that's going to be, that's difficult. That makes our job difficult.
The whole show?
Yeah, so we convinced her to make a salad. Showed up to her house to do the film. She'd already made the salad. The salad was completed. And she's like, I'd like to just talk about this salad. And I was like, what if we did like both we talked about it? And we could disassemble this and like reassemble it. And the negotiations with her were very interesting. But the chefs definitely do get sick of us. And we thank him for sticking through it. And part of it is that they know we spent a shitload of money to come out there and do this. So if they have like a soul, they'll finish the shoot.
Anyway, well, this was a great joy. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you to Brian for being here.
Yeah, Brian, thank you so much for lubing up the conversation. And Brian is very cool. I was honored to actually get to meet him because we've just exchanged messages over the years, and he's a very curious person.
He's
in that he is curious. He is curious.
He's so curious.
Yeah, and that's the best part of. I think that's the most important part of being a person is to.
There's nothing
have
better.
Curiosity. It's one of the great things about humanity.
Absolutely, like my favorite people are in the world are ones where they'll have like an interesting tidbit about something you would never expect, and you're both so, oh, that's crazy. Like I always talk about. I don't know why I always talk about nail salons, but but I'm like. If someone could tell, I always use this example, but if someone like knew the inner workings of a nail salon, like I want to know that shit.
Yeah.
I want to know like how they do their calendar,
yeah,
like, the nitty gritty of it and the sort of underbelly of it.
Yeah, I'll say that my favorite, and on that point, my favorite doc series maybe ever is How To
John Wilson.
With John Wilson.
Yeah,
because I am a very curious person. And the way he goes down the rabbit hole of things is just utterly fascinating. The scaffolding episode, I really strongly recommend.
Scaffolding's such an interesting thing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I think that's the best. Like live in a state of curiosity and not in fear, and that's the
and trust that there's enough
advice
people
I can
out
give.
There who will find that same thing interesting.
Exactly.
And if they don't, you're gonna be a loser and die alone. But
yeah, or no, you might just not be as wealthy. Like. You can be curious and make the thing that you're curious about, and if other people don't care. But actually, I think the curiosity is infectious. Nobody goes to watch How To with John Wilson because they think that they care about like restrooms in New York. His curiosity is infectious, and so I think that if you are deeply curious about something and you want to go to the cause of it, people will go on that ride with you.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
God bless.
Let's go on the ride.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's get out of here.
All right.
Oh, sorry, I didn't make eye contact for that.